Hey, this is Terry, the creator and host of this podcast. If you find the content here valuable, would you please do us a favor and go to Spotify, Apple, or any place else you get this podcast and subscribe to it and review us? It takes like a minute and it'll really help other people with depression find us and realize that they're not alone either. Hello and welcome to the Giving Voice to Depression podcast, brought to you by Recovery.com, the best place to find mental health and addiction treatment for anyone, anywhere.
Each week, we profile a guest who shares openly about their mental health journey. They share because they understand that when people don't talk about their depression or other mental health conditions, those of us who do struggle with them can feel like we're the only ones, that there's something wrong with us and that no one understands. We understand.
I'm Terry McGuire, the creator and co-host of this podcast. You have my promise that we'll keep it real here. Depression is real, and we're not going to sugarcoat our discussions about it.
Hope is also real, and you'll get a dose of that here too. I'm Carly McCollow, a licensed social worker and educator, and Terry's daughter. We've both experienced depression and also support loved ones struggling with it. We're here to normalize talking about depression and mental health in our communities, as well as our families.
And to share real-world tested strategies that have worked for other people who have walked similar paths. Thanks for joining us.
Last week, we introduced you to singer, songwriter, author, and activist Andre Henry. We reached out to him after hearing his song Make It to Tomorrow, which he wrote one day when he was feeling what he calls existentially stuck, hopeless, and suicidal.
He shared that while some songs take great effort to write, this one flowed from him. The very first line is, "Sometimes I feel suicidal." Significantly, that is followed by, "But I know I don't want to die. It's just another trial." Because Andre's song and message are not just about pain, but also about self-care and survival.
In this episode, we'll continue our discussion, exploring some of Andre's mental health management tools and how he describes the shift that happens in the song as he moves from gotta make it to tomorrow to wanna make it when I make it, and I'm gonna make it to tomorrow.
Stick around because at the end of the episode, we will play the full song for you. Here again is Andre Henry giving his voice to depression. Andre is very familiar with the big feelings that many of us with depression experience.
You know, there have been seasons where it's been paralyzing, but music has been so helpful for me in not just in improving my mood, but helping me to process what I'm feeling, you know, and helping me to connect with others who understand the experience that I've had.
In Make It to Tomorrow, Andre connects over not only feelings of despair, but also about not being ashamed of those feelings or of saying, "I'm not okay." The song acknowledges all those things, and also the profound, determined belief that he could and would get through that dark day, as he has survived others when he felt stuck and hopeless. Here's the second verse of his song, where Andre acknowledges he wants to make it to tomorrow, and that he's going to have to use the tools he knows work to protect and shift him from the depths of depression's pit. Listen for the line where he declares that this depression won't take him out.
Listen now, I'm about to go outside, get a little bit of sunlight into my skin. About to take a jog for the endorphins, it's a sure thing. No, this depression won't take me out. About to make a call to my closest friend, get a laugh and hug myself in the mirror for a minute. I'm trying, you know, 'cause I wanna make it to tomorrow.
This is like my safety plan that I'm going through in my in my second verse. Yeah. My former therapist, her whole approach with me was to resource me. And I really appreciated that. She was very practical, I should say. Like, she taught me different exercises that I could use. And we talked about what happens in my body when I'm having like these big, difficult emotions to manage. And even I remember one time she was talking about just temperature, like your temperature rises. She was like, you could literally just go open the freezer and get a pack of frozen vegetables out of there, put it on your face. That second verse is probably like what makes the song manageable, first off, is, is that there is this section where it's not hopeless, right? And it brings agency back to me in the song, but hopefully the people who listen and love it, that it brings agency to them as well.
Andre says his two go-to mental health management tools at the moment are the self-hugs he sang about and breathing exercises.
The long exhale has been one that I've been using for several years now because it's so, you can do it anywhere.
Tell me about the hug for yourself, giving yourself some love.
So the way that my therapist taught me was to like hook one arm under my armpit and then cross the other to my other shoulder. And it feels very secure. Like as soon as I'm doing it now for people who are listening, and I'm doing it right now. And it genuinely does feel like really snug in there. And then when I breathe in, it gets a little tighter, right? When I inhale deep into my ribs, it gets a little tighter. Mm-hmm. And then I just go ahead and I bear hug myself. And this is really helpful for me in particular, someone who has struggled with a lot of like shame and self-loathing.
Connected to the self-hug is self-compassion. Andre cites psychologist Rick Hanson's work in the area.
He leads you through this exercise where you think of a time when you were compassionate to someone and try to remember what that feels like in your body. And then eventually in the meditation, he asks you to turn that feeling toward yourself. And myself as an activist, there have been plenty of times where I've been compassionate to other people. But when he asked us to make that turn, I was like, oh my gosh, like what if that person who's like willing to march the streets or block a sidewalk or chain themselves to a door for someone else's rights showed up for me? What if that Andre showed up for me? And yeah, so I imagine that version of myself hugging me sometimes, coaching me sometimes, and supporting me.
We can all come up with probably damn close to the exact language we would use to comfort somebody who was feeling how we feel when we are in it. But turning it and saying it to ourselves or believing it if we did, that's a whole different matter.
Absolutely.
So now let's listen to the last section of Andre's song, Make It to Tomorrow. Note how the energy, language, and supporting voices change.
I'm not afraid to say I'm not okay. I'm not ashamed at all. 'Cause one thing about me, yeah, I'm overcoming. I'm not afraid to say I'm not okay. I've been here before. One thing about me, I always overcome. And I know I'm gonna fly when I make it to tomorrow.
You say, I'm not afraid to say I'm not okay. I'm not ashamed at all. And I want to stop right there because I want to know how you got to that point.
I've never been afraid of feelings ever, so I think that was just something just as a child, like my father never told me that boys don't cry. And in fact, I saw my father cry a lot, but I had this strong sense as a child that like, you're not going to tell me how to feel or how to express it. And that's just something I've held to my whole life. So I think that
that sounds so healthy.
Maybe it's the one thing that I can say in my whole life that like that has been consistent is if it's how I feel, it's how I feel. And I don't care if you criticize me for it. But by the time I wrote that lyric it's also because of the systemic stuff that we talked about as well that I'm not afraid or I'm not ashamed. Why should I be ashamed of feeling a feeling that is the logical response to living in a world that was built to break you?
Very good question. Further in that bridge, I'm not afraid to say that I'm not okay. I've been here before. But one thing about me, I have always overcome. And I know I'm going to fly when I make it to tomorrow. How do you remember in your darkest hours that you've always overcome?
I think I understand that question because I think that we do forget how resilient we are. I'm sure there's someone right now who's felt exactly like I do, or as I have. And if you really replay some parts of your life, you'll see. Someone said that to me one day when I was feeling suicidal. They said, you have outlived every bad day. you have outlived this day every time that it's happened. And I just thought that was so powerful and so profound. And I think that speaks to the value of community, because that's how I realized it was someone said it to me. But I think also, like, we should tell ourselves that story. And for me, what I've been trying to do is actually spend more intentional time loving myself.
What difference does it make when you do that? Is there anything that shifts inside of you? Is it apparent then, or maybe later, or maybe never, but it's worth trying?
Absolutely. Because I think that feeling inside that you regard yourself positively, everything's a little bit worse when you are not supporting yourself internally. Or at least for me, everything's a little bit worse when I'm not held up by that inner feeling that I am loved, I belong here, I am good, and inside I'm a good person in here. If I don't believe those things, if I'm not the one, then everything else that the world throws at me and that other people throw at me, it's a lot harder to handle.
Yeah. So what are you hoping somebody takes away when they hear this song? What do you want them to internalize?
I want people to first off know that it's okay to resonate with the first line of the song, because there's so much stigma around it. Just because you feel that way doesn't mean you're broken, right? It means something needs attention. And I want people to take away that they have agency. Like, the things that I wrote in my second verse may not be the second verse for everybody else. For someone else, it might be, I'm going to walk my dog to death, or I'm going to take my meds, or whatever it is. And my hope anytime somebody encounters that song, is that if you felt like I did when I started writing it, that you feel relief at the end of it, where the other voices come in and they join you. And there's this soaring melody, and there's this moment of calm after. You can't see that moment is coming. But so often it does, especially when we call out for help. When I mentioned the other voices, like I think of those so many times. My friends, my family, my loved ones, they're the reason why I'm still here. So I hope that people feel supported in that way. Like, I did see this beauty coming. I didn't see it as possible, but here we are. Okay, that's a long way to say, I hope people feel like they can make it one more day at the end of that song.
Carly, I had to end with that because the idea that we don't see the moment coming, the moment of relief, the moment of having some light come back in through those cracks, but that it often does, especially when we call out for help. And I think that's such an important message. And I know how hard it is to ask for help when you don't think you deserve it, or that anybody cares, or the rest of it. But if and when we can, it can often make a difference. And he let us hear that change when he brought in a chorus at the end of the song. And all of a sudden there were other forces and other voices. And I really, really appreciated that.
Yeah, music communicates so much that sometimes we just can't with words alone. I just want to lift up, bold, underline, highlight, point neon arrows towards something that Andre said, because I needed to hear it. He reminds us that when we feel this way, it doesn't mean that we're broken. It means that something needs attention.
So good. So important.
It means something needs attention. And just think of how different that is to go from there's something wrong with me, there's something wrong with me, to something in me needs attention. And it requires care, and it's a whole different energy to it.
Oh, and I'm so glad that we're able to have access to the song and be able to include it at the end of this episode. So stay tuned and listen, because here is the complete song, Make It to Tomorrow by Andre Henry.
Sometimes I feel suicidal, but I know I don't wanna die, it's just another trial. So I'm hanging on to life by the grab bars, hoping that the next time's far from the triggers that set me off. Every other night piling up the bottles, or I'm trying to make a pipe burn away the sorrow. I even hit the psilocybin, dog, I've been fighting for tomorrow. Gotta make it to tomorrow. I gotta make it to tomorrow. Listen now, I'm about to go outside, get a little bit of sunlight into my skin. About to take a jog for the endorphins, it's a sure thing. I know this depression won't take me out. About to make a call to my closest friend, get a laugh and hug myself in the mirror for a minute. I'm trying, you know, cause I wanna make it to tomorrow. I'm not okay, I'm not ashamed at all. Cause one thing about me, yeah, I'm overcoming. I'm not afraid to say I'm not okay, I've been here before. One thing about me, I always overcome. And I know I'm gonna fly when I make it to tomorrow. When I make it to tomorrow. To tomorrow. Oh, I gotta make it to tomorrow. Oh, I gotta make it to tomorrow. Oh, I gotta make it to tomorrow. Oh, one day at a time, I'ma make it to tomorrow.
We really hope that this discussion helps give some language or context to your own depression, or ideas for how to support someone else in your life living with it. We invite you to check out the hundreds of episodes in our archive and to explore both the Resource Hub and treatment options on recovery.com. Depression is too dark a road to walk alone.
We'll be back next week.